Hey guys, so welcome to Fox News Engineering. You guys are all here because you're going to be joining the various departments of Fox News Channel to be broadcast engineers. So what you're going to be doing is working with video producers, people who are non-technical staff members to make content for Fox News. And so our most often issue with engineers is that you guys are probably used to working with other people who are used to technical fields. So what we want to get you guys most used to is working in teams with people who might not know the technology. So our three primary roles of our engineers are to keep the machines ticking, as we like to say, advising your non-technical coworkers, and improving on our older systems, and maybe integrating some new ones. So each of these 3 points are all, the most critical thing to doing them is working with others, because you guys are going to be on teams with non-technical people, and so we see your role really as working on this. So up here we have an interview between Greta Van Susteren and former President George Bush, and that's what the content people see. They see this image. They work with this image to push it out to our public. What you guys work on is this, the wiring, the nitty-gritty of the technical aspects. And so your role is really to be a technical translator. And what I mean by that is to be able to show people the importance of that wiring, that nitty-gritty technical stuff, and its importance in creating that beautiful visual image that we put out every day of the week. So our first primary goal is going to be that of keeping the machines ticking, because obviously we can't do our job if the machines aren't working, and that's really the primary goal of engineers. So really, the first thing you need to be doing is keeping an open dialogue with our non-technical staff, our producers, because if your open dialogue isn't there, you're not going to know when things go down, because you need somebody to tell you, hey, this thing isn't working, I need to go fix it. And they need to know, how long the repairs are going to take so they can plan accordingly on some of these things. So really, it's so important to have that open dialogue between everyone on the team. Secondly is to identify problem areas. So if you're going to be fixing something, every day of the week, you're going to really need to know how to plan ahead, how to make sure these things don't happen constantly, and again, deal with non-technical staff to figure out where these problem areas might be. Somebody might come to you and say, hey, this thing is constantly going down. Can you take a look at it? That open dialogue is so critical. And lastly, just to, of course, try and keep downtime to a minimum, because we're constantly pushing content out 24 hours a day. So we really got to make sure that everything is running smoothly as possible, and when things do go down, making it a priority to get them up and running as fast as humanly possible. So going off that previous point, if you're going to be dealing with non-technical staff, they really need to know how things are working, because obviously if you are dealing with these people who are using that technology that you might know a lot about and they might not, you need to make sure that they're as up to speed as possible. So obviously, you need to make sure as a first priority to make sure that people can use the systems effectively. And what I mean by that is they don't need to know every little thing. That's your job, to know every piece of the technology, but to make sure that they can take off the training wheels, that they can use the equipment on their own without your help to the best possible ability. And obviously, they need to use it to the best possibility, know their limits, know when to say, all right, I need to bring in you, the engineer on staff, to help me out. But, know both those sides. Know how far they can go, but also be able to push it that far. The other important thing is to never talk down to non-technical staff. Obviously, this isn't their training. It's your training to understand all these pieces of technology. Deal with them, nicely. Understand that they might not know every single piece, but be able to get them up to speed as much as possible. And lastly, have a level of trust, because it's really so critical to be able to trust your coworkers are working together to use that technology to make that content, but understand that maybe somebody might not tell you that little tiny piece that you might have really been able to use, not tell you that, well, this piece of technology went down, this thing wasn't working properly, maybe they didn't think about it, whatever, but understand that you should be yourself going through each piece of technology, making sure it's still working. Make sure that people are maybe not breaking things every single day of the week, but of course, go through it yourself, make sure things are working, and have that level of dialogue so maybe you don't have to do that every single time. So this is the last piece, the real fun part for most engineers is improving on our old systems. So it's really something that all broadcast engineers understand, but really, and in this organization, it's critical to keep in mind that we are a 24-hour news network, and so all improvements, upgrades need to be done in that context. So planning is really more important than any other step, because obviously you need to keep downtime to a minimum, as we said before, keep money down as much as possible for your upgrades. So really take a measure twice, cut once approach. Make sure that everything is up to scratch. Make sure that your plan keeps into mind how long it's going to take. Make sure everyone knows. And as much as possible, keep costs to a minimum. Of course, making sure that saving money is possible. Obviously, the product is most important. So these last two pieces, limiting downtime and remembering your budget. The thing to keep in mind here that's incredibly important is that the content is king. If we aren't pushing out content at all points in time, something is going wrong. So definitely keep in mind that if we have these three pieces, time down, money spent, and the content getting out, that the content is what's most important. So we're willing to sacrifice those two other legs in order to be able to get the content out effectively. And so that might be something that's different for you guys from previous organizations. Really, the content is king, so everything needs to revolve around that. So really, these pieces all kind of come together. Working with the team comes first, because your knowledge of everything that's going on around you, your ability to help those people who might not know the technology, improve their ability to deal with technology, and to make sure that things are going down as little as possible. All these things start from working with the team. Secondly, bringing that knowledge, being able to improve what you do, spend less time dealing with all those little tiny things by imparting your knowledge of technology onto those producers, onto those developers of your TV. Making sure that they know what they're doing will just make everything that you are trying to do run much smoother. And lastly, bringing all these things together, bringing your trust with your teammates, bringing your knowledge to bear, both in your use of the technology and others' use of your technology, makes your department function. Engineers are the most critical aspect of keeping this flow of content coming out of the channel, and without you guys, that flow can't happen. So making sure the wheels are greased, things are moving, will lead to success in your department and being a great engineer and making great TV. Thank you very much. How did it look? What's the time on that?